Hello there, I'm Antonella, a 32-year-old thriving in the world of interior design. I once believed I had the perfect family, until everything changed when my brother, Jake, met Vanessa. Antonella, you won't believe it. I've met the most amazing woman. Jake gushed over the phone. I was genuinely thrilled for him. Jake and I have always been close, sharing everything with each other. Our parents raised us to be a tight-knit family, always looking out for one another. Fast forward 3 months, and Jake drops a bombshell. We're getting married. I nearly choked on my coffee. Married? Jake, you barely know her, but he was head over heels. The wedding was a whirlwind, and suddenly, I had a sister-in-law. At first, Vanessa seemed charming, full of smiles and politeness. But something fell off. During a family dinner, I noticed how she subtly steered conversations. Oh, Antonella, still single? Don't worry, you'll find someone eventually, she'd say, always with a smile but with a hint of judgment. I brushed it off, but the comments kept coming, cloaked in sweetness, but laced with criticism. One day, while helping Mom in the kitchen, I overheard Vanessa talking to Jake. Honey, don't you think Antonella's job is a bit unstable? I'm just worried about her future. My blood boiled. I had built my business from the ground up, and it was thriving. Things got worse at Jake's birthday party. Vanessa accidentally spilled wine on my new dress. Oh, I'm so clumsy. But don't worry, it probably wasn't that expensive, right? She said. I forced a smile, but inside, I was seething. Later that night, I vented to my best friend Megan. I'm telling you, Meg, something's not right with Vanessa. Megan nodded. I've noticed it too. The way she looks at you when she thinks no one's watching, like she's sizing up the competition. I sighed. But Jake's so happy, and Mom and Dad adore her. Am I just being paranoid? Megan placed a hand on my shoulder. Trust your gut, Antonella. Keep your eyes open. So I did. I watched as Vanessa slowly wormed her way into every aspect of our family life. She'd volunteer to help Dad with his finances, critiquing his methods, and reorganize Mom's kitchen, claiming it was more efficient. But it was her effect on Jake that worried me the most. My once outgoing brother became quieter, always deferring to Vanessa's opinions. During a shopping trip with Mom, I tried to broach the subject. Mom, have you noticed anything different about Jake lately? She hesitated. Well, he's a married man now. Change is normal. But Mom, it's like he's not even the same person anymore. Oh, sweetie, you're just not used to sharing him. Give it time. But time only made things worse. Family gatherings became minefields of passive-aggressive comments and tense silences. I tried to keep the peace, biting my tongue when Vanessa made snide remarks, but the stress was getting to me. My design suffered, and I started losing sleep. One night, after a particularly brutal family dinner where Vanessa subtly criticized everything from my outfit to my latest project, I broke down in my apartment. The phone rang. It was Megan. Antonella, are you okay? You seemed off at dinner. I couldn't hold back anymore. Everything spilled out. My suspicions, my fears, the way Vanessa was slowly isolating Jake from us. Megan listened and said firmly, Enough is enough, Antonella. It's time to start digging. There's more to Vanessa than meets the eye, and we're going to find out what it is. As I hung up, I felt a mix of determination and dread. I love my family and would do anything to protect them, even if it meant exposing the wolf in sheep's clothing that had infiltrated our lives. Little did I know, things were about to get much, much worse. The annual family barbecue at my parents' house was supposed to be a day of relaxation and bonding. Instead, it turned into a nightmare I'll never forget. Everyone was gathered in the backyard. Dad at the grill, Mom setting out salads, and Jake helping Vanessa with her chair. I was chatting with my cousin when Vanessa's voice cut through the chatter. Antonella, sweetie, could you grab me a drink? You're not doing anything important, right? I was about to respond when Mom called everyone to eat. The tension was already simmering. Throughout the meal, Vanessa kept making little digs. "This potato salad is delicious, Mom. Much better than the store-bought one Antonella brought last time." I snapped. "At least I contribute something, Vanessa. What exactly do you bring to these gatherings besides criticism?" The table fell silent. Vanessa's eyes narrowed. "Well, I bring class for one thing. Something you clearly lack." Before I could stop myself, I shot back. "Class? Is that what you call being a manipulative?" "Antonella." Jake interrupted, shocked. Vanessa stood up, tears welling in her eyes. "I can't believe you'd say such things after everything I've done for this family." She stormed off, Jake following close behind. I sat there fuming as my parents gave me disappointed looks. Later, as I was helping clean up, Vanessa cornered me in the kitchen. "Listen here, you little nobody. Jake is mine now. And soon this whole family will see you for the jealous, pathetic person you are." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You're delusional, Vanessa." That's when she grabbed a fistful of my hair, yanking hard. "Am I? Let's see what Jake thinks about his precious sister now." She dragged me by the hair into the living room, where Jake was talking with Dad. "Jake, look what your sister did. She attacked me." Vanessa cried. Jake's eyes widened in disbelief. "Antonella, what the hell?" I tried to explain, but Vanessa's crocodile tears drowned me out. "I think you should leave, Antonella." Now, I left, humiliated and angry. The next day, Megan came over, finding me still in yesterday's clothes, surrounded by ice cream containers. "That's it. We're not letting her get away with this. It's time to fight back." Over the next week, Megan helped me start digging into Vanessa's past. We found discrepancies in her stories. The college she claimed to attend had no record of her, and the company she said she worked for didn't exist. Then luck struck. While grabbing coffee, I bumped into Sarah, who introduced herself as Vanessa's former co-worker. "Oh, you know Vanessa? How is she?" "Still ruining lives." My eyes widened. "What do you mean?" Sarah spilled everything. Vanessa had a history of workplace bullying, manipulating coworkers and bosses alike. She'd even gotten Sarah fired by planting evidence of theft. "Be careful," Sarah warned. Vanessa's dangerous when cornered. I left the cafe, my mind reeling. I had proof now. Proof that Vanessa wasn't who she claimed to be. But as I reached for my phone to call Jake, I hesitated. Would he even believe me? Or would this just drive him further away? As I stood there, torn between protecting my brother and preserving what was left of our relationship, I realized this was just the beginning. Vanessa's mask had slipped, and now I had to decide just how far I was willing to go to expose the truth. After weeks of internal debate, I finally made the call. Mike, a private investigator recommended by a client, agreed to meet me at a quiet coffee shop. "So, you want me to dig into your sister-in-law's past?" he asked, glancing at the folder I pushed across the table. "Here's everything I've found so far, but I need more," I replied. Mike whistled as he flipped through the pages. "Lady, your sister-in-law's got more red flags than a Chinese parade. I'll see what I can do." 2 weeks later, Mike called with news that made my blood run cold. "Antonella, your sister-in-law isn't just a liar. She's a professional con artist. Multiple identities, fraud charges in 3 states, and get this, she's been using your brother's business to launder money." My hands shook as I processed the information. How? How is she doing that? Fake invoices, ghost employees, the works. Your brother's company is a ticking time bomb. I thanked Mike and hung up, my mind racing. I had to tell Jake, but before I could decide how, my phone buzzed with a text from Mom. "Family dinner tonight. Vanessa insists. Please come." Great, just great. The tension at dinner was thick enough to cut with a knife. Vanessa was all smiles, but her eyes were cold when they landed on me. "Jake, honey, tell them about our vacation plans," Vanessa said with a tight smile. Jake cleared his throat. "Well, we're thinking of taking an extended trip, maybe 6 months." I nearly choked on my wine. 6 months? What about the business? Vanessa's smile tightened even further. Oh, Jake can run things remotely, right, sweetie? I saw the puppet strings, but Jake just nodded along. After dinner, I cornered Jake in the kitchen. This trip, are you sure about this? He sighed. Antonella, please. Vanessa thinks it'll be good for us to have some time away from everything. I bit my tongue, realizing how deeply Vanessa had sunk her claws into him. Over the next few days, I reached out to Sarah and other victims I had discovered. We formed a support group, sharing stories and evidence. We need to stop her, Sarah insisted during one of our meetings, before she ruins more lives. I nodded, a plan forming. I think I know how. I spent the next week preparing, gathering every shred of evidence. But Vanessa wasn't stupid. She must have sensed something was up. One evening, as I was leaving my office, I found my car tire slashed. A note on the windshield read, "Back off, or next time it won't be just the tires." I called Megan, my hands shaking. She knows Megan. Vanessa knows I'm on to her. Megan's voice was steely. Then we move now, before she can do any more damage. I agreed, setting the plan in motion. I called my parents, Jake, and our extended family. Emergency family meeting tomorrow night. It's about Jake's safety. As I hung up, doubt crept in. Was I doing the right thing? What if this backfired? But then I remembered Jake's defeated look and how Vanessa had manipulated everyone around her. No, this had to be done. The next day dragged on forever. I triple-checked my evidence and rehearsed what I'd say. As evening approached, I received a text from Jake. Vanessa's not feeling well. We might not make it. My heart sank. Of course, she'd try to avoid this. I texted back, "Please, Jake. It's important." I wouldn't ask if it wasn't. Hours passed with no response. I was about to give up hope when I heard a car pull up outside my apartment. I peered out the window. Jake was helping Vanessa out of the car. She looked pale, leaning on him dramatically. As Jake and Vanessa entered my apartment, the tension was palpable. My parents, Megan, Sarah, and a few other familiar faces were already there. Vanessa clearly didn't expect this. "What's going on?" Jake asked, confusion evident in his voice. I took a deep breath. "Jake, everyone, it's time you knew the truth about Vanessa." Vanessa's eyes narrowed. "Antonella, you're being ridiculous," she snapped, but I cut her off, pulling out a stack of documents. "Vanessa, or should I say Amanda, or maybe Lisa, how many identities do you have?" Jake's face paled as I laid out the evidence. The charges, the stolen identities, the money laundering through his business. Sarah and the others shared their stories of Vanessa's manipulation and deceit. Vanessa tried to interject, her voice rising hysterically. "They're lying. Jake, baby, you know me." But Jake's disbelief was turning to anger. "Is it true? Have you been using my company to launder money?" Vanessa's mask finally cracked. Her sweet demeanor vanished, replaced by cold fury. "You're all idiots. Jake, you were so easy to manipulate, and the rest of you are pathetic." Mom gasped, Dad's fist clenched, and Jake looked utterly broken. Vanessa made a dash for the door, but Sarah blocked her path. "Not so fast. The police are on their way." The next few hours were a blur. Vanessa was arrested, screaming threats as she was led away. Jake sat silently, processing everything. Days turned into weeks. Jake filed for divorce and worked tirelessly to save his business from the mess Vanessa had created. I was by his side every step of the way. Months later, as we celebrated the successful relaunch of Jake's company, he pulled me aside. "Antonella, I'm sorry I didn't believe you sooner. Thank you for not giving up on me." I hugged him tight, feeling our bond stronger than ever. As I looked around at my family, now free from Vanessa's toxic influence, I realized the importance of trusting your instincts and standing up to those who try to tear you down. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. We were free, we were together, and we were stronger for having weathered this storm. And that's the end of Antonella's story. Now, I have a question for you. If you discovered your sibling's spouse was a criminal, would you expose them or keep quiet to protect your sibling's happiness? What's more important, family peace or justice? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This is a tough one, and I'm really curious to hear what you do. If you enjoyed this wild ride, smash that like button